return on equity versus a cash on cash return. Which one is better? Well, today we're going to talk about the difference between these two investment metrics and how and why you should use each one of those. Cash on cash return metric is very commonly used with real estate transactions to measure basically the return on the money that you have to put into that particular deal. So the formula will look like this. You take the cash flow that you're receiving from that property and the amount of money you invested into that, take the cash flow and divide it by the amount of money you invested into that property to arrive at your cash on cash return. So for example, say you buy a $2 million property, you put down $500,000 as a down payment, the property makes $50,000, that is a 10% cash on cash return. So in contrast, a return on equity metric is different, and it's more commonly used once you've had the property for a while and you need to measure your ongoing performance. So it oftentimes comes up when an investor, they're starting to get down the line a bit, they own multiple properties, they probably have a lot of equity built up in some of those properties, especially over the last 5 years, when a lot of real estate has appreciated over 50% or more in different regions. So the return on equity measurement helps the investor understand what their equity, how much their equity is returning for them relative to where else they might be able to earn a return. So for example, you're going to take the same $2 million property that investor bought. It's 5 years down the road now. That $2 million property is now worth $2.5 million. They've paid down their mortgage to $1,350,000, which leaves them with $1,150,000 in equity. Okay, you're with me? Then let's say the property is still earning $50,000 a year. Hopefully you're earning more, but let's just say it's still earning $50,000 a year. You're going to take that $50,000 and divide it by the $1,150,000 equity that property has, and that gives you a 4.3 return on equity metric. Now that sounds really low, which is exactly the point. So if your return on your equity is only 4.3%, then what that's telling you as an investor is that you are earning basically a 4.3% return on all the equity that you have built up in that property. So it might be a good idea to either sell the property or refinance to free up some of that equity and take it out and go invest that somewhere else where you can earn an 8% or a 10% or greater return instead of 4.3. So the return on equity measurement helps investors to gauge, like, let's say you own 10 properties and you got equity in all of them, and just try to help you go through and understand, like, okay, which ones are netting me a good return? Maybe which ones I should sell or refinance to free up that equity and go deploy it so it can be earning me a better return than, in this case, a 4.3 return. So the purpose of the return on equity measurement is very different from the cash on cash return, but they both have their place and help to bring clarity and decision points to an investor within that real estate cycle. So I hope this video brought you some value. If so, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you are looking for real estate investments within Pennsylvania or Maryland, please reach out to us. We're happy to help.